parents might be also asking like, okay, so what if my kid sees porn, or what if my daughter gets solicited to send someone nude pictures? What do we do now? Like, how do we teach our kids what to do in this situation?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it is so important to have that conversation and equip them, because it is an if, it's not it is a when, it's not an if. These things will happen. And so with porn, my biggest suggestion is if a kiddo sees something, to just teach them to shut the screen, walk away. You don't need to worry about Xing it out, because then all of a sudden you accidentally, in your frantic state, hit something else on the side and it goes out of control. So your kids, hey, if you see something uncomfortable, just shut the screen, walk away, come get me, and we'll talk about it. That's one of the things that I think is most helpful for porn. That's really when they've not seen it yet, or they don't see it often. Once they have a problem with it, it's much harder. And then with nudes, one thing that's really interesting is we have talked with a lot of teen girls, and both genders send nudes, but they share that their reason why they send nudes is not just because of social pressure, but is because they don't actually know what else to say. So it's really hard to just say no, right? That campaign did not work, because you need to actually have something better than that. You say no, and then the other person's like, well, why not? Come on. And so there have been so many creative things where we've heard, and it can be either parent, but the stories we've heard have been moms and daughters talking about like, what would you say? Like almost like just this like funny thing. So one girl we know, she took a Barbie and sent a nude Barbie. And it was like hilarious.
Yeah.
And the person like totally did back off or whatever. But then if you give them the language, that's one thing we really try to do, is we help give parents language so parents can give the kids language to know how to do it. To say, hey, you know what? I'm not into sending nudes because I know that it can go around or whatever, but just like explain your stance more. Someone is a lot less likely to like, it gives the girl or the boy more confidence. And it gives them something that they can then like pivot to have a separate conversation about. I think I shared with you when I was growing up, I had a grandmother who was an alcoholic, and it really seared memories in my head. And so my brother and I, while we both drink alcohol now, we were not likely to be quick underage drinkers. And I remember seeing friends who would say, hey, you want to drink? And it would be like, no. And then all of a sudden the conversation would just end. Like, or no, it wouldn't end. That kid would end. They'd have nothing else to say. And the person would be like, well, come on, why not? And the kid would just freeze. Like, I don't know why not. I just know I'm supposed to say no.
Yeah.
And for me, seeing that when I would be like very confident, and I was friends with lots of people who were doing underage drinking, to say, hey, you know what? It's cool that you're doing what you're doing, which obviously right now, of course, I'm like, oh, kids, please don't underage drink.
Right.
But for me, here's why I've made this choice, And so I have blah, blah, blah. And I think that holds with nudes, for a girl to say, hey, you know what? Like maybe as a parent, you can share an anecdote. Hey, I read a story about how sometimes those nudes can end up on porn sites. And as much as it would be interesting to be a porn star, don't think I want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, hey, I actually have heard cases where people end up getting turned down from college. Come up with something random that gives a justification.
Yeah.
And I think it's also powerful because then it reminds your kids that this isn't just this knee jerk. Like you're explaining to them, here's why you wouldn't want to do some of those things. So I don't have
both of those things are true. Though you just said like about porn sites and college and stuff. Yes. And I feel like when we're teaching our kids to have that language is when we're giving them power over that situation, because then they have the power they're in control of what happens as well. Or you could do like we do. I'm like, anything you put online, you have to make sure you want your grandma to see it. If you're okay with your grandma seeing it, whether that is a picture of your ding dong that you want to send out, or it is, language, or you're making fun of someone, or you're bullying someone. If you can say that and show that to your grandma, I think you're good.
Jamie, that is so much better than what I just said. Exactly. I was like mumbling the words, but that is exactly right.
And giving them the power and stuff.
And it gives them a word picture. It helps them really, because so much of this is about regulation, and you want them to build their own decision making so that it's not just, oh no, I shouldn't do that. But wait, now it's a slightly different question. Oh, maybe like being nude on a FaceTime chat is okay. It's like, okay, no, I just have my overall criteria. I'm not going to be nude on a FaceTime chat with my grandma. Okay, good. No, I can apply that here.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And I think it's the first time I've ever said ding dong on here. So there's that as well. I'm on a roll here, Tracy. I'm on a roll. Okay, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.